What if I told you that you could play a competitive deck for give or take under $100? You guys would look at me in disbelief, but here we are, showing you guys a Phantom Knight Dark Warrior deck profile that is extremely competitive, and yes, give or take, you're gonna spend about $100 to build this deck from the ground up. I'm TheCaliEffect, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, then go and destroy that subscribe button. But more importantly, go ahead and hit the notification bell because, well, we just too strong. Also want to give a special thanks to every single one of my Patreons. Without you guys, videos like this would not be possible. And a mad shout out to our newest Patreon, Calvin Tillett. Welcome to the clan. Make sure to add yourself to that Discord and take advantage of all those rewards. Without further ado, I present to you a competitive Phantom Knight Dark Warrior deck profile that's, like I said, give or take under $100. All right, ladies and gentlemen, cutting the chit-chatting on to the stats, we are showing you guys a very competitive deck. I think that this deck, even without the danger cards, which is pretty much a huge portion of the deck's price, can still top and win YCS level events, and I'll be able to explain to you guys why. And we also play some built-in counters to be able to counter the mirror match as well as certain other matches. I think that this deck is really powerful, and again, just the fact that it's under $100 is just like pretty insane. But let's start talking about the monsters so you guys can get better acclimated to it. I think this particular version is a 42 card deck, but you can go from anywhere between 42 to 48. Heck, you can even still do 60 without going over the budget, but it depends on what kind of budget we talking about. Like a $200 budget, you'll be okay, but I'm rambling. Let's start talking about the monsters. We run, for our Phantom Knight engine, just one copy of the Phantom Knight's Ragged Gloves. This card is actually a lot better than what people give you credit. You normally want to search it off of ESO Two Tails of the Noble Knight if you are getting into your basic combo sequence, mainly because you're not going to use it in any combo sequence unless it's a super extended combo sequence, but you do want it into your graveyard. It's free fodder. What it does is that it can banish itself to send a Phantom Knight's card from the deck to the graveyard, so you can banish to send your PK swords to get free special summons. It's a really good card. Two copies of the Phantom Knight Silent Boots. This card is amazing. Basically, if you control a Phantom Knight's monster, you can special summon it. So if you basically already have a warrior, you can follow it by summoning him as another warrior, and there you go. The only thing you need is two warriors to stop popping off with your combos and get yourself in a really good position. Furthermore, he can banish himself to add from your deck to your hand a Phantom Knight Spell or Trap card, which is really important because he serves as multiple extenders. Two copies of the Phantom Knight's Ancient Cloak. Now, I think it switches the monster to defense. I haven't used this effect. You can, if this card is in attack position, you can target one dark monster you control, change it to defense position. If you do, that monster gains 800 attack until the end of the opponent's turn. I've never used that effect, like never. Even back when I played Burning Abyss Phantom Knight. Never used it. But its best effect is that you can banish it to search a Phantom Knight monster from your deck to your hand. Really good at getting what you need. That is pretty much it for all of the Phantom Knights. You guys could say this is the Phantom Knight deck, because if I were to play a deck, this would be the closest that I would get to playing Phantom Knights, if you guys understand what I'm saying. One copy of Armageddon Knight. It is limited on the Forbidden list for a good reason. This card created so many ridiculous one-card combos. It's a little insane, but even at one, the card is still really powerful and still really easy to get to due to ESO Two Tails of the Noble Knight. Three copies of Dark Grepher. This card is even better than ever, to be honest, now that Armageddon Knight's had one. The ability to, you know, have a warrior monster that can send multiple dark targets from your deck to your graveyard is just insane. I actually have to get some of the other cards that I wanted to talk about that you guys could run. Is this it? No, this isn't it. This is just the danger stuff that I was messing around with. But this card is amazing because it can get you dark monsters to your graveyard and moss, and it can be special summoned as long as you have like cards like Destiny Hero Malicious. This card is an extender. Literally, you're gonna hear the word extender a lot in this video. And basically what I mean by extender is that either it is a dark warrior monster, or it's a warrior monster, or it's just an extra dark monster to put to my side of the field so I can either link climb, fusion summon, or whatever. Basically get where I'm going. But seriously, it's just an extender. Three copies of Neo Space Connector. Now this card is really powerful, but it is probably your best normal summon up to date. When in his normal summon, you can spell summon a Neospatian from your deck to your side of the field, and then when you do, you can tribute him to spell summon a Neospatian from your graveyard to your side of the field. Now you can use it for Elemental Hero Neos, but Aqua Dolphin is actually really powerful. At the cost of discarding one card from your hand, you can look at your opponent's hand and start disrupting them for all of their spell and traps. If they have Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, we do play 3 copies of Blue Mountain Butterspy. I'm just gonna put these because I only have one. I have to proxy the other 2, but the way that this card interacts with Neospacing Connector was just way too powerful to give up. Essentially, if you normal summon Neospacing Connector, simultaneous effects goes on chain. You can chain Blue Mountain Butterspy, and then your opponent has an opportunity to respond. Seeing that Neospacing Connector is Chainlink 1, Blue Mountain Butterspy is Chainlink 2, your opponent can't Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring you. So I just thought that that would be really interesting to put that out there. That's the reason why I run 3 copies of this card, is because it's ridiculous with Neospatian Connector. It's damn near any combo you want to get into. Next is only 2 copies of Junk Forward. Now this card is basically an extender. You summon it, free warrior. 1 copy of Destrudo. This card is not only an extender, it can make itself a level 3 monster, which is great for our Xseed plays. It is a tuner monster, so it's great for our power tool or dragster plays. It is a high level monster, so you can pitch it with Greffer. It just has so many uses inside of this deck. 1 copy of Blackwing Zephyros Delete and Steam the Cloak. These are really important for the combo that I'm going to show you guys. It's essentially the exact same thing to make Rongo, but since we have so many different ways to make Rongo, even if our opponent does decide to hand trap us, we can still go on with more combos or more ways to effectively get to what we need. And this is really important to it. And then 1 copy of Shadow Mist. You're actually pretty surprised to see Shadow Mist in this deck profile. I know this is probably one of the most expensive cards in the deck. Actually, I think I got reprinted, so it's not even expensive anymore. But when this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add Destiny Hero Malicious from your hand to the graveyard. There's so many ways to discard cards from your hand. A lot of times I'll send him to the graveyard, add the Malicious, gain a discarding effect, get the Malicious in the graveyard, and start popping off. This is an extender card. It is extremely powerful, and to be honest, I actually do run targets for its other effect to be special summon, and it's not hard to banish it. So a lot of times when my combos do get disrupted, you can just banish him and then special summon him through DDR. If you haven't used this effect, to add, then you can use this effect to search the match change and then turn into a Dark Law, which is really problematic against a lot of decks right now. That is it for the monsters, ladies and gentlemen. For the spells, this is the only hand trap you will need. 3 copies of Called by the Grave. This is essentially a hand spell. I play 0 hand traps inside of this deck. I wanted to play them, but then I started to thinking that this deck can out so many things. It's just crazy. If you go first and you open the Rongo combo and they hand trap you to death, you have Called by the Grave. You can survive some of them. Sometimes when your opponent hits the right cards, it might be a little bit too much, but this is essentially just to stop it. It's an amazing card. I really shouldn't be talking about Called by the Grave that much because you guys should already know how powerful it is of a card, and even if it's not hitting hand traps, it's just good against certain decks like ABC, Prime Kids, so on and so forth. 3 copies of Different Dimension Reincarnation. We play 7 equipped spells, so each Soul's effect will probably always pop off just because we play 5 equipped spells with different names and 3 of them are DDR. This is actually our power tool target, and it's really saucy for the combo I'll show you guys. It's an extender, Autonomous Action Unit, Divine Sword, Phoenix Windblade, Living Fossil, and Overdone Burial. Just all extenders. You guys should know those by now. Instant Fusion, this card is an extender, but more importantly, Invoked Raging actually allows you to flip your opponent's Thunder Dragon Colossus face down, so you can continue to search with your plays, provided that they only have 1 Colossus. Extender inside of Soul Charge, Reinforcement of the Army extender, Monster Reborn extender, and then Mass Change 2. This is a card that I really wanted to talk about because of its power inside of this deck. A lot of times, or I've predicted that a lot of times you'll be going against an opponent that's well prepared for the Rongo combo. So a lot of times they'll either want to Ghost Reaper the Rongo, Ghost Reaper Gumblar, but there are going to be times where you can't play through a certain set of hands that they're dealing with. So again, a lot of times you just Mass Change to a Dark Monster into a Dark Law, and then you say go ahead. And surprisingly, having a one-sided Macrocosmos, especially in the mirror match, is really problematic from the opponent. 2 copies of the Phantom Knight's Fogblade, and I actually do run this in reverse because I've seen a lot of players run 2 Brigandine and 1 Fogblade. I like Fogblade because, again, it gives me, I feel like this deck isn't going to surprise anyone anymore, and I do think that being able to Fogblade your opponent's monsters, it negates monster effects. And if you ever want to not be attacked, you can Fog Blade your own monster and your opponent can't attack you. It's just really powerful. And the fact that Fog Blade is an extender, I just could not run less than 2 copies. Brigandine, in theory, should only be used once. Seriously, you only can use it once. In theory, you probably could play 2 if you guys wanted to, but that's it for the monsters, the spells, and the traps. Let me show you guys the extra deck. For the extra deck, ladies and gentlemen, we run 1 copy of number 86 Heroic Champion, Rongo Boy. This will win you games. You want to make him with at least 5 material. A lot of builds or the danger builds can make him with 6 material a little bit easier, but to be honest, the danger builds can't do what this deck does, meaning that you can make this card with 5 material and then just finish your opponent off next turn. There more than likely isn't a next turn, just on how many extenders you have on the following sequence. I actually do main board that copy of Abyss Dweller. It's great against Prank Kids, it's great against the Mirror Match. It's just great against so many matches. It's good against True Draco. It's amazing. It's a card that you guys should definitely consider playing. This is the most expensive card in the deck. Number 75, Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. I'm gonna assume that some of you guys just so happen to have one just sitting somewhere. Go ahead and grab it. It's a $20 card, and again, it's like most of the deck's cost. Nothing else in this deck is over $10 if I can think of, other than number 75, and you do need it. 1 copy of Leviair of the Sea Dragon. This card is great for extending play spells, summoning Armageddon Knight back to your side of the field. I want to backtrack just a little bit just to talk about Divine Sword Phoenix Blade and its importance inside of this deck. You use this card to banish your Armageddon Knight so Leviair can bring it back, as well as you use the Divine Sword to banish, your Elemental Hero, Shadow Mist, or other targets to bring it back to gain their effects, and you can also have DDR targets. So Leviair is a really good card in here. The Phantom Knight's Break Sword. This guy is actually really good spot removal, and he's just a pretty powerful card. 1 copy of Dark Law. Again, I've already said it. Sometimes your opponent just can't out the Dark Law. It's almost as close as Abyss Dweller. 1 Invoked Raging to flip the Thunder Dragon face down. 1 FA Dragster. This card is really good at negating your opponent. I play 2 tuners. Odds are I can Synchro Summon twice. 1 copy of Power Tool Dragon for the combo to search the DDR. 1 Gumblar Dragon. I mean, you can still Gumblar your opponent in this deck. The Phantom Knight's Rusty Bardic. This card's awesome. Nightmare Phoenix. This card's awesome as well. Link Karibo, 2 Tails, and Summon Sorcerers. Fortunately, these cards have significantly dropped in price due to the Soul Fusion Special Editions, and they're really, really easy to play. I think Link Karibo for a common is like $5, but again, this deck is extremely cheap. That doesn't mean that you can't play other cards. Some cards that I genuinely considered playing was the Karen Gorgon and the Evil Swarm Nightmare. If you guys didn't see Abyss Dweller in, your Abyss Dweller targets or decks that could be hurt by Abyss Dweller, Evil Swarm Nightmare is really, really powerful at stopping summons. And then Karen Gorgon is really good in the Sky Striker matchup because all their cards target. Curious is a card that I couldn't find the room for. I didn't really feel comfortable, especially since I don't play Dangers in this particular build. 1 copy of Yazi. Yazi is just a card that you guys could play. It's awesome. It's really for the Mare combo, but I didn't find enough extra deck room. You can extra link in this deck, but it's not really enough room to feasibly able extra link. Spain's Insulator is just another great card. You're going to need it to make Summon Sorceress. Basically what you do is you summon Yazi, you destroy their target, you destroy Yazi, destroy their target, summon Mare. Mare makes 2 tokens for the Space Insulator. The 3rd token is the Link Karibo, and then you make a free Summon Sorceress. You guys can run it if you guys so choose. And then Visionary Vian actually does make for some insane combos, and is really searchable now that you actually play Elemental Hero Shadow Mist. A card that I wanted to play was Foolish Burial. I just didn't have room for it. Literally, I just didn't have room for it. And it's a card. A 3rd Boots if you guys run another Brigandine. If you guys can't afford it, the Danger Engine is okay. So 3 Jackrabbit, 3 Sunoko, 3 Nessie. Literally the only reason why this exists inside of the deck is to summon a level 3 monster. And that's why I just felt that it was a waste of money to play. Like, there's no point if you ask me. And you guys can make it 60 card. Another thing that I want to talk about is the A Hero Lives engine. A Hero Lives, paying half your life points to summon Stratos. That's a free warrior to your side of the field, as well as a search to your malicious or your Vion, and then Vion gets summoned and it makes the little 2-card combo, which means you can make Rongo. So I thought that that was like interesting to talk about if you guys wanted to run that. But that's it for the main board, the extra deck. Let me show you guys a couple of combos so we can get out of here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna show you the 2-card combo. The reason why this deck is so powerful, and the fact that you can still do it for basically on a budget. Like I said, this is a $100 deck that can make an almost virtually unstoppable monster. The most optimal way to do it is Neospatian Connector and Blue Mountain Butterspy, but 3 warrior monsters do just about the exact same thing. And the best thing about this deck is that even if your opponent does have hand traps and you don't have this specific scenario, you can still literally bully your opponent because the deck just has so many extenders. What you're going to do is normal summon Neospatian Connector and use its effect as Chain Link 2. You're going to be able to use the effect of Blue Mountain Butterspy. So the reason why you can do this is because turn player always has priority to activate effects, and since the summon was successful, you can activate the effect. Blue Mountain Butterspy also has the opportunity to activate the effect because they are simultaneously, or these effects can be simultaneously used. Reason how we know is because Blue Mountain Butterspy says when a monster is normal summoned, or when a warrior monster is normal summoned, and Neospatian Connector activates when it's normal summoned. So Chain Link 2, we spell summon Blue Mountain Butterspy, and then Chain Link 1, we resolve Neospace Connector, spell summoning Neospatian Aqua Dolphin from your deck to your side of the field. So I'm going to go ahead and imagine that we have at least 1 card in our hand. We're going to be able to do some nasty things because now we're going to activate Neospatian Aqua Dolphin's effect, discarding 1 card from our hand to hit that Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring that they were probably trying to use on the Neospatian Connector anyways. From there, you're going to go ahead and use Aqua Dolphin and Blue Mountain Butterspy for a link summon into your Isoul 2000 Noble Knight. And in this particular deck, you're actually going to use Isoul's effect to add the Phantom Knight's Ragged Gloves from your deck to your side of the field. Use Neospatian Connector's effect, tributing itself to spell summon the Aqua Dolphin. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys, as long as it's not to an arrow where Summon Sorceress would eventually point to, and as long as you do it before you follow up with a certain sequence, I'll show you guys in a second, it doesn't really matter when you summon the Aqua Dolphin. Just let your opponent know that they're going to get Aqua Dolphin. Like, hypothetically, if you saw like a Ghost Bell or a Ghost Ogre and an Ash Blossom in their hand, then this would be the perfect time to use that Aqua Dolphin. You actually have the card in your hand, pitch it to the graveyard and get rid of that card. But from there, we're going to just say we're going to use Isoul 2000 Nimble Light's effect, sending 4 equipped spell cards, none of them being DDR, and one of them has to be Divine Sword Phoenix Blade from our deck to our graveyard to spell summon Armageddon Knight. Armageddon Knight's effect is going to trigger, sending Blackwing Zephyros the Elite from our deck to our graveyard. And here's where things get a lot more complicated. It's really important that we use the Isoul and the Armageddon Knight, get this card off the field as fast as possible to make our Summon Sorceress. From there, we're going to go ahead and use Divine Sword Phoenix Blade, banishing the Armageddon Knight and any other warrior. It doesn't really matter. All of our warrior monsters are going to get banished in our graveyard sooner or later to add that Divine Sword Phoenix Blade. Activate the Divine Sword Phoenix Blade, equipping it to your Neospatian Aqua Dolphin, and then use the effect of your Blackwing Zephyros, bouncing the Divine Sword back to your hand. And then from there, you can use Aqua Dolphin's effect yet again. That's right, discarding it to the graveyard to destroy another card in their hand. Justin, how many times have I destroyed somebody's card? Twice or 3 times? Twice? Okay, cool. Use Summon Sorceress's effect, targeting Blackwing Zephyros the Elite to spell summon Blackwing Steam the Cloak, and now both of these monsters can be used for a synchro summon into Power Tool Dragon. Now that's going to trigger the effect of your Blackwing Steam the Cloak, allowing you to spell summon a token to your side of the field. Now the token summon is irrelevant. It's going to be used for an Exceed summon before your Summon Sorceress leaves the field, so it does not matter, ladies and gentlemen. From there, you're going to use Power Tools effect, not revealing just 1 copy of DDR. We're going to reveal 3 copies of DDR in our deck, revealing them to our opponent and allowing them to choose which DDR you want to scrape them with. So JB, go ahead and choose what DDR that we're going to scrape them with. Well, which one is that? All right, cool. The other 2 go back into the main board. Now, I've heard a friend of mine said he actually game lost somebody for a reasoning like that. So make sure they actually get to choose the DDR, even though it doesn't matter. Maybe he was just, you know, playing around or whatever, but I still don't want to give them a free win just because you chose a DDR and they didn't get to choose a DDR. Go ahead and activate that DDR, or no, I'm sorry, no, you're not going to do that. Activate the effect of your Divine Sword Phoenix Blade, banishing your Blue Mountain Butterspy and your Isoul 2000 Noble Knight to add from your deck to your hand Divine Sword Phoenix Blade, and then follow up using DDR to discard the Divine Sword Phoenix Blade to special summon Armageddon Knight back to your side of the field. Armageddon Knight's effect is going to activate. Go ahead and send the Phantom Knight Silent Boots from your deck to your graveyard, and then you can use its effect, banishing itself, to add a Phantom Knight's Shade Brigandine from your deck to your hand. use the effect of your Blackwing Steam the Cloak, tributing the token to special summon himself back to the side of the field, and then your Neospatian Aqua Dolphin and your Blackwing Steam the Cloak can be used for an Exceed summon into your number 75 Bamboozling Gossip the Shadow. Now, it's if you guys actually decide to play the Dangers or any level 3 extender, I would strongly advise summoning it to the side of the field before you make Bamboozling, mainly because you can make Bamboozling 3 material, which ultimately leads up to your Rongo having 5 material on it. Use your Phantom Knight Shade Brigade from your hand, just setting and then activating it because you control no trap cards, to spell summon itself to the side of the field, and then use Summon Sorceress and Power Tool Dragon for your last Link summon into Topologic Gumblar Dragon. From there, you're going to go ahead and activate the effects of your Divine Sword. No, you're not. My apologies. You're actually just going to follow up by using the Phantom Knight Shade Brigade and your Armageddon Knight for your last summon into your Heroic Champion Challenger Wrongboy. Now that's going to go ahead and trigger the effect of your Firewall Dragon. Both of you guys are going to have to discard a number of cards from your hand to the graveyard depending on what you did. If we have more warrior monsters, of course we would activate the Divine Sword Phoenix Blade, meaning that they would only have 2 cards left in their hand. Am I correct? Or 1 card right now and then 1 for the draw? Lastly, you're going to use Bamboozling's effect to attach itself to the number 86 Heroic Champion Rongo Bungo. And that's basically how you make a 3000 Undestructible Rongo guy pointing to a Topologic Gumblar Dragon, which your opponent only having 2 cards to be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Would. Thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the Cali Effect. One thing I do want to point out is that the Phantom Knight's Ragged Gloves is now in your graveyard, so you can banish it to send other Phantom Knights cards such as your boots or such as your cloak, whatever you need to get into your combos, which is really cool. There are also so many more combos with this deck, but since this one was the most important and it's the most extensive, as you guys can see, I'm going to go ahead and leave those out and possibly maybe do a video on my Patreon or something for you guys to see. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy. I hope you guys are having a great day like I am.